the roadmap, escaping the maze of madness, which is what it is, we should know what they're doing. We should expose what they're doing. But if we don't see the big picture in which that is happening, we'll never find an answer to it. The more we understand the size of the conspiracy, the more we find the answers to the conspiracy. So that's the roadmap. I've been sent a story, an article this week, which is from 2019. And it's alleged to be, purported to be, a transcript of a conversation between a tech Pentagon whistleblower and a website or representative of a website. Now, because the lady remains anonymous, I can't say if that's true or not. Obviously, how would I know for sure? But what I want to do is highlight, because it's so relevant to current events, some of the things that she says that confirm my own research over decades. And the whole story, you can see the whole article. If you put the headline into a search engine, it will come up. I've tried it. And basically what she's saying, put my glasses on, is that she is a former tech operator, a sort of tech, wizard, who worked for DARPA. Now, DARPA is the technological development arm of the Pentagon, just as an organization called InQtel or IQT is the technological development arm of the CIA. And they work together to seed fund so-called startups, internet startups, tech startups. And I say seed fund, they seed fund them, yes, but also they supply them with the tech that the startup has invented, that it's coming out of the underground bases and the secret projects via the military. Because the military is running the show. At one level, the military is running the show. This is why it's been exposed, quite rightly, that the COVID fake vaccine was actually a military operation with politicians sort of taking the credit, like Donald Trump, but it was a military rollout. And even the big pharma companies like Pfizer were actually subordinate to the military in the rollout. So there's a lot in this article that supports my own research, like I say, over many years. So it's the transcript, going to the article itself, of an interview with a Google, Facebook, DARPA insider that was conducted with a member of the Anonymous Patriots, a citizen journalist group aligned with the American intelligence media. So like I say, this was from 2019. And indeed, it says here, the conversation took place on July the 1st, 2019. And the whistleblower says that she was at the heart of high-tech innovation at DARPA, Motorola, Boston Dynamics, that's produced a lot of very advanced for the public arena anyway, robots. Facebook Building 8, which was their kind of innovation area. And many other projects for Lockheed, Boeing, BAE, and others. And the focus of the article is a guy called Eric Schmidt, who she claims to have had a relationship with, but, who knows? But certainly enough said in this article to make you think that whoever's talking has a lot of experience on the inside. So who's Eric Schmidt? He was born in 1955. He's an American businessman and former computer engineer who was the CEO of Google from 2001 to 2011 and the company's executive chairman from 2011 to 2015. And he was also the executive chairman of parent company Alphabet, Inc. from 2015 to 2017. And since he's moved into official government areas, for instance, Schmidt became the first chair of the U.S. National Security Commission on Artificial Intelligence. And this is where it's leading, this whole thing, in 2018, and had a major influence on the Biden administration's science policy after 2021, especially shaping policies on artificial intelligence. He supports using AI and related technology for military applications by funding startups. So, what this whistleblower lady says is that she has a long background with Eric Schmidt. She talks about his connections to the Chinese Communist Party. You can read what she says in the article itself. And she says, I was working for the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, the military, at the time, and took an interest in this opportunist. When Eric went on to Sun Microsystems, and again, she talks about the previous time, gleaned the credit for projects he didn't create, I decided to see what made him tick. I did him a favor by inviting him to a Highlands Group forum. So what's the Highlands Group? For those in your audience, she says, that might not know about the Highlands Group, it works out of the Naval Intelligence Net Assessment Office and basically is the international group of corporations, venture capitalists, military and corporate intelligence, and the CIA's In-Q-Tel agency, which I mentioned earlier. Highlands Group assessed new patents, DARPA In-Q-Tel projects, and military desires for new weapons. So where she's talking here about corporations, venture capitalists, military and corporate intelligence, and the CIA and DARPA, they are all one unit. They are presented to us as different aspects of society, the system, but actually they're one unit working to one goal. And that goal, as I'll come to, is in its most extreme sense, a fusion of humans with artificial intelligence. And this will bring us into current events as we go along. So the article goes on, quoting her, the military, as they create mythical cyber geniuses as facades for Silicon Valley corporations, and then allow those idiots, as she calls them, to buy into the next DARPA no-bid government contract that eventually becomes a monopoly subsidized by the government. And she gives the very, very pertinent example. At DARPA, we use taxpayer money up front to pay for people like Larry Brin and Sergey Page, the people who are said to be the creators of Google, to win the DARPA contest. Then we make sure that the insider traders from the Highlands Group know about the next startup that will make the initial public offering, IPO, with assets of millions, but will immediately bump up to a company worth billions. What I'm about to tell you has seldom ever been said out loud, she says. Brin and Page were stooges. I've been making the point for so long that these big Silicon Valley heroes and big names, they're front people. They're front people for the military. And the military is an expression at the level we're talking about of this global cult that I've been exposing for decade after decade. So, talking of Brin and Page, they were chosen because they would lie, not because they invented something. They were given a top secret DARPA program called Memex, which we had used as the best search engine we could develop, we being DARPA. It was all military and the dark web at first. We used it to sucker in the enemy unbeknownst to them, and then subliminally brainwash them, attempting to create behavioral outcomes through digital dopamine reward systems and adrenaline excretions. It worked like a charm. So the CIA's In-Q-Tel agency suggested we give the system out to everyone in the world and see if we can't control the world globally through digital addiction and manipulation. Again, it worked like a charm. So we created the fake National Science Project that Brin and Page participated in. They simply did the best job of the dozen people involved, but they didn't invent anything. They simply used Memex and made it commercial. Facebook and Zuckerberg did the same thing with LifeLog, which was another DARPA In-Q-Tel project that needed a boy genius as a frontman. Mark was simply used. And this is what I'm talking about, and I've been talking about for so long. Elon Musk, he's a genius, he is. No, he's not. He's a frontman. Wake up, people. And the whistleblower says, I find it amazing how easily people are lied to effectually. Eric is one big fat lie. Mark, Elon, and the whole gang got their inventions from DARPA and In-Q-Tel's theft of patents. I know, she says, I was there in the meetings. And she describes these people like Musk and Schmidt and all these people, Zuckerberg. She describes them as, quote, idiots who are psychopaths with delusions of grandeur. They are little boys in a sandbox. Now, because of the anonymous nature of the speaker here, you know, I can't say that what she's saying is true in the sense that she has insider knowledge of all this, although the detail she gives is certainly credible. What I am saying is my own research over the decades has concluded exactly what she's saying in terms of what's going on. And given Musk's central role now in the Trump administration, which I'm going to come to, it's important that people realize that they're being shafted, perceptually shafted and literally shafted as the Trump administration unfolds. DARPA, says the whistleblower, is a death machine, pure and simple. I work for the death lords to keep America safe and free, but those old naive beliefs of mine have long gone to the wayside. I am referring to taxpayer-funded weaponization of the internet, which DARPA claims credit for creating, Facebook, PayPal, the PayPal mafia, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, and others, Google, Twitter, Gmail, YouTube, Amazon, Netflix, Microsoft, Apple, etc., etc. It disgusts me to know what I know about those fake corporations and their takeover of the world. I helped create those programs. I had no idea they would all go out of control. I'm trying to rectify those mistakes right now. And this was the lady speaking in 2019. So make of it of all that what you will. And like I say, I can't say that it's true or that what she's saying about her involvement is true, because I've not met the woman. But it certainly fits my own research over so long. So Elon Musk, and I have been pointing this out, Elon Musk is no genius. He's a frontman. I mean, look now at what's happening. Now, since he bought Twitter X, or was allowed to buy Twitter X, and with all the other shareholders, like those out of Qatar and Saudi Arabia, who really have a passion for freedom of speech, since he bought that, even before, but after he bought it, he was scattergunning posts like all the time. Since he picked up Trump and became Trump's biggest promoter, if you look at Twitter X now and the Musk posts, it's absolutely amazing. It's like machine gun fire. They're coming all the time, pushing a certain agenda. And at the same time, Musk has claimed that 80% of his time is spent designing and engineering. And that he runs all these companies. And despite everything else that he does, like posting on Twitter X all the time, he runs all these companies. It's a joke. It's in your face. If only we would see it. So SpaceX, what is SpaceX? Putting up these low orbit satellites, creating this electromagnetic cloud, which is all part of the hive mind and the connection of AI to the human brain. SpaceX is an arm's length front for the Pentagon and NASA. That's why SpaceX gets all these massive contracts from the Pentagon and NASA. And now, bringing right forward into current events, Musk and this guy Vivek Ramaswamy, who is a business associate of this guy Peter Thiel, who is massively part of this AI grouping to push forward towards this human AI fusion. Those two have been given the job by Trump of deregulation of government and getting rid of loads of people. I mean, enormous amounts of people they're talking about that work in government, and making it more efficient. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to say that the way to make government more efficient and to get rid of all these people is for AI to basically take over running government. And that's exactly the Global Cult World Economic Forum agenda for AI control. And so this is Musk talking about what he predicts for AI by the year 2040. And what he's describing here is his master's agenda.
Every country will have AIs or multiple AIs. So, and there will be a lot of robots.
There'll be a lot of robots. But we had
way more robots than people.
Yeah, let's have that conversation a second, because people are concerned about, as you said, dwindling populations. AI and robots have the potential to help support the GDP.
Yes.
Congratulations on Optimus 2 and soon Optimus 3. Your prediction on the number of robots by 2040, humanoid robots to be specific, what order of magnitude?
By 2040?
Yeah, so.
I think by if you say like 2040, probably there are more humanoid robots than there are people.
So what we're going to see in this Trump administration are things happening to take the attention of Trump supporters away, things happening that will make them say, see, he's doing what he said. At least in theory, he's doing what he said. And while they say, oh, look, yeah, we're winning, over here, the direction of travel is planned to be the march, the absolute march of artificial intelligence to control the entire system and people's lives, and ultimately the fusion of humans and AI. Now, a well-known mate of Elon Musk is Joe Rogan, this now globally known podcaster. And he's just done an interview with an AI billionaire called Mark Andreessen. Now, Mark Andreessen, for some reason, a little while ago now, just blocked me on Twitter X, which I found a bit surprising because I'd never mentioned him on Twitter X at that point. But he blocked me. Okay, well, I must be saying something you don't like. And so the Rogan show with Andreessen was for me very instructive because, Rogan is an opinion former. I say for the agenda, and I say that's why he has this massive hundreds of millions of dollars contract with the system. And this interchange was classic in terms of the agenda itself, because Rogan was saying that AI government by artificial intelligence should basically replace politicians. And that is straight off the wish list of the global cult, exactly where society is planned to be taken. So have a listen at their little chat.
Artificial general intelligence will emerge, and who knows how that affects. I've said publicly, and I'm kind of half joking, that we need AI government.
Yep.
It sounds crazy to say, but instead of having this like alpha chimpanzee that runs the tribe of humans, how about we have some like really logical, fact-based, program that, makes it like really reasonable and equitable in a way that we can all agree to. Right. Let's govern things in that manner.
Right. So you can actually simulate this today, because you can go on these systems, ChatGPT or Claude or these others, and you can ask, how should we handle issue X? How should this be run?
Yeah, we've done that.
Right. How should the Department of Energy do whatever, nuclear policy or whatever? And what I find when I do that is I discover two things. Number one, of course, these things have the same problem social media's had, which is they're tremendously politically biased, and that's on purpose, and they need to fix that, and that's going to be a big topic in the next several years. But the other thing you learn is if you can get through the political, basically, bias and censorship, if you can actually get to a discussion of the actual issue, you get very sophisticated answers.
Yes.
Right. Very logical, very straightforward, and it will explain every aspect of the issue to you, and it'll take you through all the pros and cons.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, it might be the way to go.
Yeah.
Which is so horrifying for people to think, because everyone's worried about the Terminators taking over the world. Yeah. And like, if that's the first step, is we let them govern us.
Well, look, there's nothing stopping a politician from using this. There's nothing stopping a policymaker from using it, as a tool.
Right.
You start out, at the very least, you start out using it as a tool. There's nothing to prevent. Like, for example, I think military commanders in the field are going to have basically AI battlefield assistants that are going to advise them on strategy, tactics.
Yes.
Right, how to win conflicts, and then it'll start to work its way up, and then they'll be doing, war planning. And then if you're a general, if you're a sergeant or a colonel or a general, it's going to just mean you perform better.
Yes.
And so maybe there's like, the human, the sort of man-machine kind of symbiotic relationship. And you could imagine that happening more in the policy process and in the political process.
And the mate of Rogan and Andreessen, Elon Musk, is now given the deregulation brief by Trump that will, I'm sure, lead to deregulation of any blocks on the rollout of artificial intelligence. And on the whole theme of AI taking over from politicians, well, that's why, again, I've been putting this out for so long, that's why so many morons are being put into political power around the world. And the idea is that they're so moronic, they're so arrogantly moronic that they don't listen to what people actually want. What the cult wants is all that matters to them. That the public become completely disenchanted with politics and politicians. And as a result, they become open to saying this. Well, you know, the AI and appointed technocrats, I mean, they couldn't do any worse than politicians, could they? See what the politicians have done? That's the idea. It's all a perceptual manipulation game. The whole thing, the whole conspiracy is a perceptual manipulation game. And interestingly, this morning as I record this, I was reading stuff about Mark Zuckerberg being, of course, the official head of Facebook, who was invited to dinner by Donald Trump at his Mar-a-Lago estate center, whatever it is, in Florida. And what I saw was Trump supporters saying, hold on, what's he inviting Zuckerberg for? Zuckerberg, they say, put vast amounts of money into the 2020 election to stop Trump winning. Why is he inviting him? Because it's a big club and you ain't in it, but they are. So the invited visit by Zuckerberg was confirmed by an ultra-Zionist Trump, he's in the Trump government now. He's Stephen Miller, Deputy Chief of Policy. And this is what he said about why Zuckerberg and Trump have got together.
Real quick, Politico is reporting that Mark Zuckerberg was at Mar-a-Lago today meeting with President Trump. Can you confirm that?
Yes, that's correct. And Mark Zuckerberg has been very clear about his desire to be a supporter of and a participant in this change that we're seeing all around America, all around the world with this reform movement that Donald Trump is leading. Mark Zuckerberg, like so many business leaders, understand that President Trump is an agent of change, an agent of prosperity.
Right.
And so business leaders, CEOs everywhere, they want to be an element, a supporter, a booster of making our economy prosperous, delivering for American workers, and making sure that America is the most powerful, wealthiest, freest nation on the face of the earth. So we'll see what comes of that. Yeah. And Mark, obviously, he has his own interests, and he has his own company, and he has his own agenda, but he's made clear that he wants to support the national renewal of America under President Trump's leadership.
Good. It's good for the president. He turned the page with some talk show hosts on another channel, and he might be maybe getting over the fact that Zuckerbucks really impacted the 2020 election in the battleground areas.
It's almost funny in a kind of ironic way that Trump supporters were calling for, even some saying that when Trump comes to power, he would arrest these Silicon Valley people who have worked against him for doing what they did illegally. Naivety, the human disease. It's a big club. and you ain't in it. And talking of the big club, Trump has named a George Soros fund management partner, Scott Bessent, as his Treasury Secretary. This is a man who helped Soros some years ago make a fortune through the crash of the British pound and through betting that it would happen. How did they know? And Charlie Kirk is a Trump groupie with an organization called Turning Point USA. He called Bessent's appointment, this longtime Soros employee, a phenomenal pick, and said we should, quote, expect the markets to react favorably. So that's the right-wing revolution now, is it? To make the markets that are completely cult controlled at their core, from their core, to make them act favorably. What do markets acting favorably mean? It means acting favorably for themselves, Mr. Kirk. God, it's pathetic. So this is Scott Bessent, and the reason I introduce him here at this point in the Dot Connector is that he's very relevant in what he says about AI. He talks about the golden age here. Now, the same as Trump, he's talking about. We'll have the golden age of America. And golden age, for people who've researched this, has very, shall we say, esoteric cult connotations in terms of its insider meaning. And so what Bessent says here is that a massive amount of deregulation of the system, which who's been put in to deregulate? Oh, Elon Musk. That's right. And if they get this deregulation right, he says, the technological innovation that we're about to see accelerate through AI could lead us into the golden age.
I think we've had a rally for most of the year because the markets were sensing that Donald Trump was going to win. And then last week, when he won, we had market was up 4.7%, the S&P for the week. The small cap index, the Russell had the ETF had the biggest inflows in 17 years. The bank stocks are doing well. And, you know, I've called it, we have the potential for the golden age here, because if we unleash U.S. energy independence, energy dominance, I think we have the potential here to do a massive amount of deregulation, which really didn't get enough airplay. This administrative state has been holding down U.S. business. And then I think, Charlie, what's fascinating and very hopeful for me is in Trump 1.0, everyone did well. Working people did well, the stock market did well, big companies did well, small companies did well. Under Harris-Biden, it was a bifurcated economy, and only the rich and big did well. So, we had this Mag 7, the 7 big tech stocks in the stock market, and then the top 10 or 20% of Americans have never done so well. And the bottom 50%, they got killed economically, and they came out and revolted. On Sunday, I had conversations with two of the greatest venture capitalist household names in America, and they are so constructive that the U.S. could enter this new golden age, powered by, they basically said, like, Scott, if Team Trump can get the economic framework and the regulatory framework right, that the technological innovation that we are about to see accelerate through AI and other industries could lead to a new golden age in the U.S. And they said, look, you and Larry Kudlow are the highest that we could have 3% growth. We think it could be 5% growth.
AI is coming at us from all angles for a very good reason. It's what the cult wants to impose upon us. And there was a tweet. Do they still call them tweets? There was a tweet this week by Elon Musk in which he said that it was, just quote him, some idiots are still building manned fighter jets like the F-35 when he says they should be building AI-controlled drones to do the same job. Now, replacing the manned military technology with AI-controlled military, where it can be controlled from an underground base or whatever, you don't know where it's being controlled from, is again the agenda. Just a coincidence. Nothing to worry about. That Musk is talking straight off the script again. Now, addiction to smartphones is crucial to this whole AI control agenda. I say, and I've said for a long time now, there's something coming off those smartphones, like a frequency that's affecting the brain like a drug. Because, the brain is an electromagnetic organism on one level. It processes information electrically. And if you can interfere with that, well, and manipulate that, you can create, just in one expression of it, there are many, an addiction. So you see people, they're scrolling down and scrolling down and scrolling down their phones for ages and ages and ages. And then eventually they put them down. But when they put them down, the brain is going, where's my electronic fix? Where's my frequency fix? What's gone on? What's happening? Where is it? They go into, shall we say, frequency vibrational cold turkey. And what do? You see it all the time. They pick the thing up and start scrolling again. It's an addiction. And they are so important to this AI control agenda that Elon Musk is telling you, you shouldn't worry about them. Oh my God. Anyway, he says that this smartphone concern about what they're doing and all this stuff and what they're doing to the brain is not happening, which, if you look at the background, is intelligence insulting nonsense, because the body and the brain on one level is an electromagnetic field. And while that electromagnetic field is in balance and is in harmony, then you're healthy. But when other electromagnetic fields, frequency fields, start destabilizing that harmony, you go into a state of disharmony, dis-ease, which leads you to ill health, dis-ease, disharmony. And that's all ignored. Don't want to talk about that. Instead, here's Musk with his mate Rogan, again, telling his massive audience that phones are fine and nothing to worry about.
Cell phones are not emitting particles. So if it's like, is my cell phone going to cause brain cancer? I'm like, because of radiation. I'm like, do you mean photons or particles? And it's like, it's not emitting particles. So we can just put that aside. Don't worry about the particles. Then the photons that's emitting, the most they can do is slightly warm up your ear, and only by a tiny amount. It's like okay, if you had an ear warmer that was very mild, that's your phone. That's all. It's emitting photons at a frequency that is not going to cause DNA damage. Sleep easy at night. Don't worry about your phone. It's fine.
Insult my intelligence, Mr. Musk. Oh, you just have. So this AI control of everything includes whole cities controlled by AI. Every aspect of life controlled by AI. Now, certain parts of the population will accept that. They'll think, oh, that's a good idea. But others, what I call the pushbackers, well, used to be, they won't accept it on that basis. So they have to be given another story that leads to the same outcome. And Donald Trump is saying that he wants to build from scratch what he calls freedom cities. Freedom cities. Well, that's good, Donald, because they want freedom and you're calling them freedom cities. That's a good one, that all confuse them. But what are freedom cities, Mr. Trump? They are AI-controlled cities built from scratch, so AI can control everything from the start. Here is the great one describing his freedom cities.
Past generations of Americans pursued big dreams and daring projects that once seemed absolutely impossible. They pushed across an unsettled continent and built new cities in the wild frontier. They transformed American life with the interstate highway system. Magnificent it was. And they launched a vast network of satellites into orbit all around the Earth. But today, our country has lost its boldness. Under my leadership, we will get it back in a very big way. If you look at just 3 years ago, what we were doing was unthinkable. How good it was, how great it was for our country. Our objective will be a quantum leap in the American standard of living. That's what will happen. Here are just a few of the ways we can do it. Almost 1/3 of the landmass of the United States is owned by the federal government, with just a very, very small portion of that land, just a fraction, 1/2 of 1%. Would you believe that? We should hold a contest to charter up to 10 new cities and award them to the best proposals for development. In other words, we'll actually build new cities in our country again. These freedom cities will reopen the frontier, reignite American imagination, and give hundreds of thousands of young people and other people, all hardworking families, a new shot at home ownership and, in fact, the American dream. Another big opportunity is in transportation. Dozens of major companies in the United States and China are racing to develop vertical takeoff and landing vehicles for families and individuals. Just as the United States led the automotive revolution in the last century, I want to ensure that America, not China, leads this revolution in air mobility.
And what he mentioned at the end there about competition with China, that's going to be one of the big excuses for pushing on at speed this AI control agenda. Oh, well, the Chinese, they're ahead of us. We've got to catch up. So we've got to do this. All right. Yeah. Yawn, yawn, yawn. And just finally on this kind of subject, but this is not AI, but it's certainly an indicator of where the Trump administration is planned to go. He's named General Keith Kellogg as his assistant to the president and special envoy to Ukraine and Russia. Kellogg has constantly pushed for Russia to be expelled from Ukraine and even talked about a no-fly zone, which would mean what? Open, never mind proxy, open war between the West and Russia and the East. And his supporters, of course, a lot of them are in cognitive dissonance, and so they're doubling down. Oh, he's doing it because it's part of the plan. Yeah, okay. Explain it to me. Well, he knows. Yeah, I bet he does. But some, especially with this Kellogg and these other people, like the defense secretary and the ambassador to Israel, Huckabee, and so many others in the administration, they're basically asking the question, what's going on? These people seem to have no connection to what Trump said in his campaign that he was going to do. Well, I can explain that. You've been had, people, for a second time. If you want to read more and watch more of my content, then go to the description under the video where you can buy my books. The latest one is The Roadmap, where you can get tickets for public events, and how you can subscribe to a fantastic video channel called Iconic, iconic.com.